Okay, ladies, so it is 10:20. Welcome back. So really this part of the session, I think focuses more on just the workshop elements. Again, just discussing the key themes that we had spoken to at the beginning of the session. As an organization, we consider ourselves very fortunate to have partnered with the Laura Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, who really provide us with the support we need in terms of delivering our Women in Business program and the workshops. And so I would like to introduce Dr. Rosh Mamabolo, who is the founder, CEO of the Laura Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Dr. Rosh, welcome back. It's such an honor to have you. And I will, I'll hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Molokeng and the team, and thanks to an amazing session, Matebe. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Good morning. I'm just having construction around our office, so I hope the noise levels are not that destructive. So my name is Rosh Mamabolo, as has been introduced. I have a mammoth task. Molokeng always challenges me with all these topics that I have to talk to. But it so happens that it's something that I work with almost on a daily basis. So I'll be taking you through the masterclass on scaling your business. There's quite a number of topics that are important that I'm going to present. So for the sake of time, I had to select, certain topics and leave others out because it's quite a lot of information. It's quite a lot of examples and stories and case studies to take into account. But I'm going to try my best to sort of not come across as information overload, but to sort of, identify some of the key important areas that you need to consider. So I'm a CA by profession. I'm not practicing anymore, but I work with entrepreneurs. I train, I coach, I mentor, I facilitate quite a lot of sessions throughout the country. I have a team of people that I work with where we go out there and we assist entrepreneurs on their businesses to grow their businesses. And so what I'm going to present is some of the common things that we have picked up over the past 10 years. And we have worked with over 5,000 entrepreneurs throughout the country. So some of the challenges that they've experienced while they're trying to scale their businesses. So maybe let me just run the slide deck. And then what I'll do is maybe as I'm going through the session, just note your questions. And then I'm going to try and towards the end, maybe before we close, we'll have a Q&A a discussion. So scaling up your business, before I get into it, I hope you can see the slides. So there's about 3 things at the beginning before I get into the nitty-gritty. There are 3 things that you need to keep in mind or understand and appreciate right at the beginning. You are running your business, you've got a product, the product is doing relatively well, there are people who are buying, there's a cash flow, money comes in, you are able to pay your suppliers, and probably you work alone or there's someone who's helping you. Great. Now you have to grow the business. So I'm going to touch on 4 things, the value prop, building systems and processes, which is very important in growing your business. Those of you who were here in the last masterclass, we touched on this. but I'm going to go slower on it because I think it's very important that when you grow your business, you need to have solid systems and processes in place. Most of the time, entrepreneurs run their businesses from their heads. So you know what's going on in the business. Great. You can run this business with your eyes closed. There's nothing wrong with that. But what then happens if you were to fall under a bus or if you were to be incapacitated? What then happens to the business? Will the business be able to run without you? Will you be able to scale the business? So those are some of the questions that you need to sort of consider when you want to scale your business. We talk about working in your business versus working on your business. So the goal is to work on your business, not for you to be the business, because if the business relies on you, you are the business, which means that you can't take a vacation, because if you take a vacation, the business takes a vacation because you are the business. If you were to fall sick, the business is sick because you are the business. So you want to build a business that can run without you. Ultimately, the goal is, as entrepreneurs, we are building these machines we call business that can run without us. And you can maybe later on sell it, or maybe later on when you want to retire, you can appoint someone to run it for you. So it's critical that you are able to build systems and processes in your business. So this is basically the engine of your business. In your absence, the business can run. And then we'll do a brand sprint exercise. So what is this about? So often I've made the mistake of, when you talk to people, when I ask entrepreneurs, so how did you come up with this logo? Or how are you branding this business? And more often, and probably you also have been in that situation, where I ask you, how did you come up with these colors, for instance, or the logo, or the signage, or how did you come up with all this? And more often, we always say, oh, I love royal blue because it's my favorite color. And therefore I want my logo to have the royal blue color because it's my favorite color. And it's important that this brand or this logo reflects me, right? So that's how we often, when we talk branding, we often want the brand to assume our personality, which is okay. But the question is, who is this brand talking to? Is this brand, are these colors that you say are your favorite, are they talking to your target market or your target audience? Because if they're not talking to your target audience, even though royal blue is your favorite color, right, you are not buying from yourself. If you find that your target market's favorite color is black, for instance, but here you are branding your business blue, right? You find that there's that misalignment. Ultimately, what you want is you want your brand to reflect the people that you're targeting, not to reflect you, right? So a case in point would be, with Laura, for instance, we started the academy. We come up with this logo, we come up with this color and wada. And those were so mean, right? They reflected who I am, they reflected my personality and all. And then one of my lecturers comes and says, let's do the brand exercise. So we do the brand exercise. Halfway through the exercise, and this is the exercise that we will do today. Halfway through the exercise, I actually realized, hold on, this brand that I started with has to change. Why? Because the people that we are targeting don't share the same colors as me. We are targeting young, vibrant entrepreneurs, startups, blah, 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 blah. And if you're going to talk innovation, if you're going to talk creativity, if you're going to talk ideas, it's an intersection of different colors, right? So you can't just have one dark, boring color, right? And halfway through the exercise, I understood, no. My brand has to change, right? The initial brand was an introverted type of a brand because, hey, I'm an introvert. But when I deal with young entrepreneurs with ideas, it's a different combination, right? So it can't just be an introverted brand while I'm targeting extroverts. There will be that misalignment. So your brand as startups, often we look at our brand as a reflection of us, but we are not the target market. The brand has to be a reflection of the target market. So a classic example would be McDonald's, right? McDonald's, the franchise, the business itself is targeting, it's kids friendly, right? It's targeting kids. And therefore, even if you are the Koch brothers or whoever who's at McDonald's and your favorite color is brown, but your target market is kids. So it means that the branding, the personality of the brand, the vision of the brand, it needs to reflect your target audience, which therefore means that the McDonald's brand or logos and everything in it has to be child friendly. The colors have to be child friendly. The setup, the music, the environment at McDonald's stores has to be child friendly because that's the target market. So we'll do a brand exercise before we finish. And I'm hoping that, you look at your brand, you look at your logo, you look at the essence, the message of your branding, and then you'll ask yourself, is this brand reflective of the audience that I'm targeting, or is this brand a reflection of me? Right. And then we'll finish off with leadership, because as you are growing the business, you're moving from solo entrepreneur or maybe 1-2-man show to about 20 or 30 or 40 people. Now suddenly you are responsible to lead people. So you transition from being this entrepreneur to being this leader, right? How do you lead? What is your leadership DNA, for instance? What is your leadership signature, right? Do you lead by threatening people, by wandering around, by motivating, inspiring? So we'll look at the 5 levels of leadership, as a way of being able to deal with a bigger group, because leading 2 people is quite different to leading 20 people. When you lead 20 people, you have a situation where there's politics. Politics are everywhere. Where there's human beings, it's an occupational hazard that there will be politics. So when you lead 4 people, it's different when you lead 40 people. There's cliques, there's small cliques. There are others who, within the group of 40, there are others who feel that you are favoring some of your close colleagues and you are not treating others equally. Because we go to the same church or because we come from the same neighborhood, and therefore these are your favorites. And so suddenly there's politics that are mushrooming. How do you deal with it? How do you lead people? How do you lead teams? Because as your business grows, you need to increase your capacity. So capacity would mean you need to get bigger premises, more machines, but by default, you then also need to have more people coming through, and you need to employ people. Now, slowly, you are transitioning from a 1-man show to a show of 40 people or even more. And how do you manage those? But I think also in the process, what culture are you building within the organization, right? You need to be intentional about the culture that you want to see in your business, because you might have glossy products and glossy goals and strategies, but if the culture of the organization, right, and the culture is how we do things around here, if that culture of how we do things around here is contrary or works against the goals that you have set for the organization, right, you're going to find that those goals are not going to be realized. So we often say in strategy terms, culture eats strategy for breakfast. So, you might have all these great strategic objectives and goals and vision and mission all, worked out nicely. But if the culture within the organization, is contrary to what you're trying to build, what you're trying to build is not going to be realized. You're going to find a situation where the people that you have employed sabotage your organization. And you can't say, and you need to be conscious about this. So you can't say, you know what, I'll see culture later on. Let me focus on the business and growing it. What usually happens is if you're not intentional about developing the right culture that you want to see in your organization, you're going to find that the culture will develop nevertheless. So it's going to happen that the culture will develop, whether you are intentional about developing it or not intentional. How so? So usually the culture will take the form or the shape of the strongest person in the team. So the alpha characters, those who've got strong character, you are going to find that if you are not intentional about the specific culture that you want, the culture of the strongest character person in the team will be the one that takes shape and will be the one that prevails. So if the strongest character person in your group or in your team shares the same vision as you, then it means that there's a chance that the culture will be in line with what you're trying to achieve. But if the strongest character person in your group shares a different culture to what you want to see in the organization, you're going to find that if you're not intentional about building a specific culture, the culture of that person is going to be the one that prevails. So an example would be, if you're not intentional about, we start on time, time is important. If you're not intentional about the language that we use here in the office, we don't use curse words. There are certain words that we don't prescribe. If you're not intentional about excellence, that we go, beyond, what's expected, a culture of excellence. If you're not intentional about those, you're going to find a situation where, people who come late and they have influence in the team, that becomes the culture. And if you don't deal with it at the beginning as a leader, you're going to find that everyone else comes late. And by the time you start trying to shout at those who are coming late, they're going to say to you, but you didn't talk to this one. Why are you talking to me? And you didn't talk to this one. You are being unfair. There's favoritism, blah, blah, blah. So as you grow the business, you are transitioning from being an entrepreneur to being a leader. You are the vision bearer. You find that, and that ties in very nicely with building systems and processes. Because once you have built systems and processes and you have employed a team of people that are running your organization, you then elevate yourself to a higher level of a CEO or of a strategic leader whose role is to cast the vision. This is where we are going. This is where we are going to open another branch. This is where we are going to, get into partnership with. This is the type of culture that you are going to celebrate. So you slowly move from working in the engine of the business, and I call it working on the bridge. You are now moving from fighting fires to setting the vision and strategy of the organization and driving the organization forward. So those are the 4 topics that I'll be touching on. I'll be sharing quite a lot of examples. I'm going to try and make it as practical as possible. And I'm going to bring my own personal experience in the businesses that I've ran before. But also, most importantly, I'm going to bring a whole lot of other examples of other entrepreneurs that I've worked with and I've mentored and coached, and also some of the case studies that I've read. So those are the 4 topics. I'm hoping it will take us to 12 o'clock or thereabout. Right, so let's get into it. The value proposition, but before I get into that, 3 things. 1, you need to decide that you want your business to grow. right? You want to grow your business. And I think the mindset is important until you make that decision in your brain that, you know what, I think it's time that we grow the business. If you don't make that decision, the business will not grow automatically. We have this sense or belief that because this year I was in grade 5, next year, if I work hard, I'm going to be in grade 6. And then the year after that, I'm going to be in grade 7. And we have this belief that business growth works the same. That, you know, this year I'm here, next year I'm going to be there, the year after that I'm going to be there. It's not automatic. It's not a given that the business will grow year in, year out until you decide that you want to grow the business. So it's an emotional decision. It's a conscious decision that you need to make. Why is this important that you decide that you want to grow the business? Because as you make that decision to grow the business is going to take you out of your comfort zone. So you're going to find that if you're an introvert and you were working alone, and here is this product that you managed to build, and there are people who are buying into it, suddenly you are going to have to employ 10 people. Suddenly you're going to have to deal with people, which is not something that you are quite passionate about or looking forward to. So then you look at it and say, do I really need to do this? I think, people are a pandemic. Do I need to deal with people? So you can then say, no, I'm okay with this business the way it is. It's taking care of my needs. I'm able to meet my monthly obligation. I don't have to worry about, people and CCMA and what and strategy and all these things. I'm fine here. So in essence, what you're doing is you're building a lifestyle business. It can pay for kids' school fees. It can pay for the rent, petrol. It can pay for a good holiday. So you're okay. You don't want stresses of dealing with 30, 40, 50 people. And if you make that decision, the business will remain there. But if you want the business to grow, you need to make that decision to say, I want this business to grow. But also understand that running a 2-man show is completely different to running a 50-man show, completely different. Which means that you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to start doing things that you've not done before. And sometimes that tends to be a bit scary because it's a fear of the unknown. I'm stepping out of what I'm used to. What if I go out there and this thing doesn't work out? I'm used to this. I'm used to where I am now. I'm actually quite comfortable with the struggles that I'm fighting now. And that's okay, but your business will remain small, right? So the growth of the business is the decision that you need to make that decision first, and then you then work on growing the business. If you don't make the decision to grow the business, and for some reason, the business, you find that there's more orders coming in, there's more sales coming in, but you don't want to grow the business, you're going to find that you're going to sabotage the growth of your business. You're going to end up rejecting some of the orders that are coming in because they're stretching you out of your comfort zone. So you need to make that decision that I want this thing to grow. 2, if your business is not growing, there's a greater chance that your business is dying, right? So you'll know the stats. The stats will always say, most businesses, 80% of the businesses die within the first 5 years, right? Why do they die? There's a whole number of reasons why they die. Mismanagement of cash flow, bad product, change in market conditions, blah, 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 blah. So what you find, and I talk about this as internal bleeding, right? So, and I use this as an analogy. So if someone is bleeding next to you or at home, right, and they're bleeding and you can see the blood is coming out, you're going to panic. You're going to want to do something about it. So you're going to say, no, let's rush you to the ER, or let's put a bandage, or let's stop the bleeding, whatever the case might be. So you're able to deal with the situation right there and there. But the danger with internal bleeding is that you don't see that. Maybe you might feel uncomfortable, you might feel the pain, but because you don't see internal bleeding, you are likely not to have the sense of agency to deal with it. People around you won't be able to see that you're bleeding, so they won't panic, and there's a chance that they won't do anything about it. But over time, you are dying if the internal bleeding doesn't stop. So you find that a lot of businesses, people are comfortable with where they are, and they don't want to grow the business. They are happy with where they are. But you then find that, because there's a whole lot of changes in the environment, a whole lot of competitors are coming in, customers' tastes and needs changes. There's technology, there's better ways of doing things, right? Over time, right, your business is going to suffer from internal bleeding, and slowly it's going to die. And you won't see it until probably it's too late for you to do something about it. So it's not something that you see, it's not something that you are able to predict immediately because you can't see. But if your business is not growing, it's suffering from internal bleeding, and over time, it's going to die. So those are the second thing. Thirdly, you need to increase your capacity. So if you decide, I want to grow this business, it's important that you grow first. And I always use this example. And it's a leadership principle, the law of the lead, right? And the law of the lead says, all of us have leadership capabilities. All of us have leadership capabilities. The difference, though, is what's your capacity? So there are people whose capacities are 2. There are people whose capacities are 10, right? Or 20 or whatever. So we all have leadership capacities, but our capacities are different, right? So if your capacity, for instance, is 2, right? Which means you can lead only 2 people comfortably, right? No problem, we work together, we are fine. So it means your capacity to lead is 2, right? If your capacity is 10, your capacity to lead is 10, right? It means you can lead 10 people comfortably, no problem, right? So we all have different leadership capacities. But if your leadership capacity is 2, and we give you an organization of 10 to lead, but your capacity is 2, or there's a business opportunity where maybe there's a transaction, you can buy a business of 10 people to lead. There are already 10 people employed by that business, but your capacity is 2, right? What's going to happen is 8 people are going to leave, and that business will be left with 2 people, because that's where your capacity is at. If your capacity is 10, in other words, you can lead 10 people comfortably, and we give you an organization of 2 people to lead, 8 other people are going to join that organization because your capacity is at 10. You are going to attract other 8 people. Now, this principle is as relevant in leadership as it is in finances, right? So if your capacity to manage finances is 5,000 every month, so you get 5,000 every month, you are able to budget, no problem. You are able to pay for everything, great, no problem. Your capacity is 5,000, right? And we give you 5 million or 10 million, right? But your capacity is 5,000 every month. What's going to happen? That 5 million or 10 million is going to come down to your capacity of 5,000. And only then, when you get to 5,000, you'll then be able to say, now let me budget, right? Because that's where your capacity is at. Now, you look at your business where it is now, and then you ask yourself, at what capacity are you at, right? So you might be a startup, you might have 3 or 4 people that you have employed, you are at that capacity of 4 people, right? Now you want to grow the business to 40 people, right? But your capacity is 4 people. Now you need to increase your capacity, right? And then the business will grow to where your capacity is at. So you want to grow your business, you need to grow first. You need to grow your capacity first. You need to think better. You need to make better decisions. You need to understand certain principles. You need to understand how to build the culture, how to deal with difficult employees and all, right? And slowly your capacity grows, right? Until you're at a point where that's the point that you want to grow your business at. So I use this example with entrepreneurs when we are in workshop. And it's a funny thing. I say to them, and probably even here, I say to them, right now, where you are sitting here, you are in this workshop right now. If there was an SMS that was to come into your phone, right? And then you check the SMS and it's 50 million deposited into your account right now. I can guarantee you 90% of you will log off. If there's 50 million into your bank account now, right? 90% are going to log off to say, what is this about? What masterclass? 50 million is in your account. You're going to start. I mean, I used this as an example. One entrepreneur says, I'm out of here. First stop ATM. I'm going to withdraw and see if this money is real, right? Probably is because our capacity is not at the 50 million level, right? You want to be a millionaire, increase your capacity to 1 million, right? So the people that we see on I Blow It, the TV show, where they win lottos and they spend, it's because their capacity is low and they are being given millions. And because they don't increase their capacity to millions, the millions come down to where they are. So in business terms, it's exactly the same, right? You want to grow the business, you need to grow first. So how do you increase your capacity? Workshops like this, books that you read, right? The books that you read, workshops, mentors, coaches, seminars, you attend conferences, you make your own mistakes, you learn from your mistakes. Slowly your capacity grows, right? And you are then able to make better decisions. You're able to understand things better. You're able to make better mistakes going forward. Slowly your capacity grows. And that's what you want. You want to grow your capacity because ultimately the growth of your business is going to be a reflection of where you are. It becomes very difficult for the business to outgrow you. If it should happen that the business grows quicker than where you are and you don't increase your capacity, the business is going to come down to the level where you are, right? So those are the 3 key things that I'm putting out there as a caveat, right? To say you need to want to grow the business. So you need to decide that I'm at a stage, I'm ready to grow the business and therefore let's shift gears. But 2, you need to also understand that if your business is not growing, over time, your business is going to suffer from internal bleeding and it will end up being dead. And number 3, if you want to grow your business, you need to grow first, right? You need to understand certain things better. You need to have better financial discipline. You need to understand strategy. You need to understand how to deal with a big team. You need to understand, forecasting. So there's a whole lot of other things that you need to understand because suddenly you're no longer dealing with customers. Your team is dealing with customers. You need to deal with your team. You need to lead your team, right? And therefore that means you need to understand leadership principles, team dynamics, how to lead millennials, how to have difficult conversations, right, with my team members who are poor performers, right, in a constructive way. So suddenly you need to increase your capacity and then your business will follow. So I'm putting those 3 as caveat at the beginning, as a foundation, right? So one of the most important things as you grow your business is what we call value proposition, right? Right. So what is value from a theory point of view, right? As a foundation, value proposition is your ability to get your product to be in sync with your customers, right? So the two comes together. And when the two comes together, that's where the value proposition. So in other words, you want your customers to find value in what you're offering. So there has to be that sync between the two, the fit. We call it the fit, right? Value map or your product or your service and the customer. You need to understand these two. Now, the mistake that we make as entrepreneurs, I've made that mistake. I've seen other entrepreneurs make that mistake. The mistake that we make as entrepreneurs is we say, I have a product. I love this product. I love building this product. And my job is to look for customers to buy this product. So the starting point is always me, myself, my product, and then my job is to go and look for people who can buy this product, right? So we call it the push approach. I have this product, I'm gonna push it, to customers. Hustle, push. Now, that approach used to work before, but it has proven to be less effective. The right or the most effective approach is, what do customers want out there? What is their frustration? What is their pain? What are they trying to achieve? And then with that understanding, reverse engineer to the product, right? Because you need to understand the market, what the challenges of the market is, and then work out the product. The first approach was, here's the product, I'm going to look for the market. The second approach is, here's the market, here's my understanding of the market, and then I'm going to build the product. So the first approach says product, market. The second approach says market, and then product, right? And the value of your products or your services is only as relevant when there's a fit between what you offer and what the market is looking for, right? That's what you're looking for. That fit is important. Now, what's the best way to get that fit is to understand what is it that the market is looking for, and then going and building it. Automatically, you are building something that the market is looking for, and there's a fit. Now, a simple example would be, it's Valentine's Day, your partner is taking you out to a restaurant. As you approach the waiter, right? As you approach the restaurant, the waiter comes to you and he asks you a series of questions. Where do you want to sit? Inside, outside, smoking, non-smoking, right? You answer. You sit down, he asks you, table for 2 or 4, you sit down and he asks you, what would you want to drink? Pen and a paper, taking down with your order. Goes to the kitchen, brings the drinks, right? Gives you the drinks. You then say, are you ready to order the food? Again, pen and a paper, a blank paper, they write your instructions. Then goes to the kitchen, prepares the food, comes back and gives to you. If that interaction is done with a smile, with the required warmth and professionalism, there's guaranteed to be a big fat tip, right? Great, nothing wrong. Now, why is it that when we run our businesses, we don't ask our customers what we want, we impose? So we are like these waiters. When the customer approach, we look at the customer and then we say, today you're eating fish and chips and you're drinking Savannah Dry and you're sitting outside, right? We impose what we offer to our customers without asking them, without understanding what they want. So what I'm saying is, as entrepreneurs, we are waiters. We need to ask our customers what is it that they want. We then take those instructions, go to the kitchen, go to our premises, and cook or produce the product that the customer says they want, right? Not what we think they want, right? What they actually say they want. And by so doing, we'll then be able to have what we call a fit, a value proposition fit. What you are giving to your customers is what the customer said they want. Automatically, there's a fit. What you don't want is, you don't want to be building this thing hoping that someone out there will love it. And then you go out there knocking on 50 doors, going door by door asking, do you want this? I sell this, do you want it? right? You don't have the budget. As a startup, you don't have the budget to do that. You don't have the resources to do that. And quite frankly, you are not using the limited resources that you have efficiently, right? So it's important that you do this exercise. You don't do this exercise once where you ask your customers what they want. How do you do this exercise? Of course, you can have one-on-one interviews or discussions with your customers. Ask them. Don't ask them with the intention of selling to them. Ask them with the intention of understanding them. I always say to entrepreneurs, what do you know about your customers? What do you understand about your customers? Beyond, I want them to buy my product. Just tell me about your customers. Who are they, right? If they were to walk in here, right, would you know if this is your customer? Would you know this is not my customer? And if so, how would you know that this one is my customer, this one is not my customer? Confidently, how would you know, right? So you need to get to that point where you really know and understand your customers, right? Because not everyone is your customer. There is no customer called everyone, right? There is no answer all of the above. You need to be specific. This product is built for these people. Of course, you're not excluding others. Back to the McDonald's example. McDonald's is not saying CEOs must not go to McDonald's. It's not saying that. But McDonald's is not building a business for everyone. McDonald's is saying we are building this for a happy family for kids. This is a kids-friendly environment, right? If you are a CEO, of course, you are welcome, but we're not building this for you. You're not the target market. Unless if, of course, you come with your kids, of course, then, but this is the target market or the target audience is this person, right? So you need to know your target market and understand them. So you can do one-on-one sessions, you can do focus groups, you can go on Twitter or Facebook and do a survey, ask a question, give 3 or 4 options and let people choose, vote, give comments, right? By so doing, you then understand what your customers are. I'm mentoring a young entrepreneur. He does a platform for photographers. So it's sort of like a photography, like an Uber of photographers. So I'm hosting an event. I need a photographer. You go to the app, you see who's the photographer in your area, and then you book, and they come, they take pictures. Now he's building the product. As he's building the product, I start asking him, so who visits your website and who uses your website? And he says, quite interestingly, the people that have used his services are all women, right? Quite interesting. People who request photography services are all women, right? So it was such an interesting insight for him, because then it says, okay, so if it's women that are, requesting the profile, it therefore means that I need to build my profile, my service offerings, around women, right? So it's those type of observations, those discussions, Q&A, focus groups, reading reports, trend analysis, blah, 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 that you are able to understand your customers. I was doing a workshop with the ladies in Rustenburg, informal traders. They sell your plates and food in the taxi rank in Rustenburg early this year. So we're having this discussion. I asked them, how do you know your customer? Or how do you know if someone is going to buy or not, right? And they, they laughed about it. He says, no. I know my customers. And say, how do you know them? He says, if a person asks me 10 questions, he's not buying, right? But if someone comes and asks me 1 or 2 questions and that's it, they are buying, right? And that's how they know their customers. I did an example, I was doing an exercise where I was asking a sales guy who sells cars. He's a very seasoned salesperson. And I asked him, how do you know your customers? And he says, firstly, the question they ask. So if a person goes to a Mercedes-Benz dealership and they say, how much is this car installment a month? They can't afford, right? He says people who buy the products that he's selling, the first question is not how much is this? The first question they ask you is, can it come with this? What color options are available? They ask those questions. So you need to be at a point where When someone walks in, you need to know, is this my client? Or this one is not my client, right? Why is it important that you know who your customers are? Because it helps you in knowing who your customers are not, right? Why is it important that you know who your customers are not? Because you don't waste time talking to people who are not going to buy from you. You don't build your business around people who are not going to buy from you. So it's important that you know who your customers are, because it then gives you that fit that you are looking for, right? So 3 questions that you need to respond, right? What product or service are you selling, right? This is a very easy, straightforward question. You all know what product or service you're selling, right? It's an easy one. Now, the question that I'm having is, of course, is this product designed around your customers? Or did you design this product thinking that your customers will want? So again, back to the analogy of this, of the waiter. Did you go out there and ask them, interact with them, observe, understand them? Or did you assume that because you love it, they will love it, right? Which is a very risky assumption, right? So what product are you offering? That's straightforward. Is it designed around your customers, or is it designed around you, right? Critical that you answer that question. 1. 2, what value do your customers get from buying your product? You need to be quite clear about this, colleagues. You can't say, well, my product is for everyone and they love it, but why you? So if they have options to go between you and the person next to you who is selling the same product, why should they buy from you and not the person next door, right? And you need to be clear. They're coming to me because maybe I'm affordable, or maybe I'm not affordable, but they're coming to me because I'm accessible, I'm closer to them. They might be paying more, but you know what? I am innovative. That's what sets me apart. Or they're coming to me because we have the best customer service in town. We smile, we go extra mile, we make you feel important, blah, blah, blah. That's why they're coming to us. Or Tina, we are quality. We don't compromise on quality. If you come to us, you buy from us, guaranteed this is the quality you're going. Or because of convenience, I don't have to, come to your offices or come to your business. I can just place an order on my app and then you deliver to my house. Or efficient, right? Efficiency. You are using technology, you're tech savvy, and you are able to get things done through using technology, and that saves time. So instead of ordering something that takes a week, you order today, tomorrow you get the thing. So you need to then decide, what are you offering here, right? And work on that. Sometimes it becomes very difficult to be affordable and offer quality at the same time, right? Quality comes at a cost, right? Sometimes you might find that, you are accessible, but, you are not efficient, whatever the case might be. You need to work out what value, why do people come to you? And be clear about it and build your business around that, around what people are looking for in your business. So if you go to, a few weeks ago, it was the horses in Durban, July, and then the after party was at KwaMashu, right? There's a street in KwaMashu, there's Kwamex, there is ARD, same street, few houses away from each other, right? Kwamex is quite clear what it's offering. ARD are quite clear what they're offering. Yes, they're all in the entertainment space, and they're all in the relaxation space, same industry, but different value propositions. Kwamex is high level clients, safety, more expensive products. Airtini, it's a different value proposition. You need to be clear what proposition or what value are you offering to your customers. Now, if you are saying, I am Kwamex, for instance, or Konka, or whatever, And that's your value prop. And someone comes into your shop and says, what? This thing is expensive. You don't start panicking to say, oh, my customers are complaining about my prices. No, because you know who you are building this business for, right? And you can confidently say, nothing personal, but this is not for you, right? You want lower prices? Let me show you. You just walk down the road, you'll see on your right, there's a Yardini. There, you'll definitely afford what you're looking for. So it's important to be crystal clear about the value that we're offering. At Laura, we're quite clear about the value that we're offering. We're offering entrepreneurship courses that are affordable, but most importantly, that are offered by entrepreneurs, right? So it's not courses that we offer by somebody who read a book and comes and tells you about it. No. It's courses that we offer because we have walked the journey. So it's courses by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. So we are not just academics who have read and written research papers, but we also have the practical experience. So we know what we're talking about. It's not just textbook that we're talking about. We're quite clear about that value proposition. That's the value proposition that we're giving to our students. And we build our academy around that, right? Number 3, what is your position? So how are you positioning yourself? So are you positioning yourself as a USAVE, or are you positioning yourself as a Woolworths, right? You need to be quite clear. Again, you need to be quite, are you a Ayatini, or are you a Konka or Kwamex or whatever? Are you a McDonald's, or are you a Signature, right? So you need to be quite clear where you stand, right? And build your business up. There's nothing wrong with being a USAVE. There's nothing wrong with deciding my game is going to be a Woolworths game. There's nothing wrong with that. McDonald's is making their money, right, with a low base price strategy, and Signature is making their money, right? You then need to work out, where do you want to position yourself between these two strategies, right? And it's important that you build your business, your pricing around that. So if you decide, I'm going to be a USAVE, great, right? People who go buy at USAVE, right? In my neighborhood, the USAVE that I know, right? You won't find people there saying, we want Jacob's coffee at USAVE, right? If you go to USAVE, you are likely to find Coffee, Frisco, no-name brand at USAVE, right? Because the customer base around there, that's what they can afford, and they're quite comfortable with that product, right? If you go to Woolworths, not only will you find Jacob's coffee, you'll find different flavors of coffees, right? Because people who go to Woolworths are looking for different flavors, and they can afford those different flavors, right? So Woolworths, therefore, build their business around the customers that they are targeting. USAVE is building their business around the customers that they're targeting. And both brands are making money. In fact, someone can even go and extend and say, USAVE is making more money in Africa than Woolworths, for instance, right? Because the customer base in the continent is people who are looking for low prices. And Woolworths struggled in Ghana, Woolworths struggled in Nigeria, and they had to close some number of their shops there. Why? Because the customer base in those areas, you'll find that they prefer your USAVE type model. Now, you need to then work out and decide which game are you playing, right? If you are going to build your business, where do you want to play? Now, whichever strategy you want to adopt, don't try and be everything to everybody. So don't try and say, I'm going to Woolworths, I want to buy water, and they say 25 Rand, and I start to panic. No, it's expensive. And then as a Woolworths owner, you also panic. Say, oh, my customers are, you need to be quite clear what game you're playing. You're not going to change your price because people who are not a target market are complaining, right? So you want to be able to say, I'm a USAVE, and these are my pricing, and these are my people. I'm a Woolworths, these are my pricing, and these are my people. Whichever way, don't try and play both strategies at the same time. You are going to confuse your market, right? You are going to confuse your value proposition. People won't know where you stand. When I go to Woolworths, I know what I'll find, and I know the price I'm going to have to pay. When I go to USAVE, I know what I'm going to find, and I know the price I'm going to pay. But if Woolworths tries to be USAVE or USAVE tries, there's going to be confusion. We call it brand confusion, and people will not know what to expect from your brand. So you can't be everything to everyone. In fact, when you try to be everything to everyone, you become nothing to anyone, right? So don't try and be everything to everyone. Try and focus on your target market. Try and come up with a strategy that you want to play. Now, the common question that comes is, but what if I want to have premium products and I want to have low-level products? Can't I do that? Can't I do that? Absolutely, you can. You can do that. But the advice is then brand them differently, right? Don't have the same brand with different price ranges. So let's use the ShopRite example, right? So in the ShopRite example, you will then find that your USAVE models are usually in townships and rural areas, right? But Checkers is also targeting the higher premium clients through their Checkers Hyper, right? And you find Checkers Hyper, for instance, in Santins, for instance, right? So they're quite the same group company, but with different brands. And those brands are targeting different customers, right? Your USAVE is red and yellow branding. Your Checkers Hyper is green and white or whatever, right? You go to Checkers Hyper, there's 24 tills. So as you walk in, there's 24 tills. There's a huge market there's a huge bakery, there's a huge fruit and veg section, there's a furniture section, that's ShopRite Hyper, right? Different clientele, different location. You go to USAVE, there's a little, if you're like, there's a little bakery, there's a small food stand, and the aisles are small at USAVE, the lighting is not that bright at USAVE, right? So it's different, they all belong under the same group, but it's different brands, right? Another example would be when Kulula.com came into the market years back, SAA looks at this thing, Kulula is the most popular brand. SAA then decides, do we remain competing with your Emirates and your British Airways, or do we go and compete with Kulula, right? Because Kulula at the time was killing the market. It was, getting a whole lot of customers. What SAA then decided to do is say, no. We're not going to go down to where Kulula is and compete with Kulula. What we're going to do is we're going to introduce a different brand, which is going to be a low-cost carrier, which is going to compete with Kulula at the bottom. And they called that brand Mango, right? So Mango, even though it's part of the SAA group, right, it's a different brand, which is targeting, which is competing with Kulula, and they kept the premium SAA brand competing with your Emirates and your British Airways. So, right, if you want to have multiple market segments, there's nothing wrong if you brand your products differently, right? Uber has got Uber Black, Uber X, Van, what. Those, even though it's the same company, but the product offerings are branded differently. So it's important that you try and focus yourself and you build your business around that. So that's the first segment. I don't know if there's any questions or comments while we just finished this one. Are we good? Can I move on? Yes, I also love Jacob's coffee. I love Jacob's coffee. But the question is where do you get it, right? If you want to buy it.
Okay.
All right. Any questions, comments? Can we move on?
So questions before we proceed. Okay, Pumzile's got her hand up. Thanks, Pumzile. You can go for it.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Mamabolo. May I kindly ask that you send us the slide, please, if possible. Thank
No.
you so much.
Oh, is that it? Okay. Okay.
Yes.
That's an
thank
easy
you.
one. Okay.
Yeah. Can I maybe just come in there to say so to the attendees as well? So when we do share the link for the recording, we definitely would include the learning material.
Awesome. Okay. I see there's a question. Same companies, but different brand products. Absolutely, Lucia. Can this work for B2B? Absolutely. So, you know, again, if we go back to, there's no customer called everyone, right? So some people say, no, but my client is government. I said, but government is very broad. Or my client is the private sector. The private sector is very broad. It's like saying everyone is my customer. You need to be specific about, if I deal with the government, what type of government, because there's 3 levels to government. There's national government, there's provincial government, there's local government, municipalities. There's Section 9 entities. There's different layers to government. So you want to be specific to say, I'm dealing with provincial government, I'm dealing with the Department of Health, if you are offering health products, or I'm dealing with Department of Education because I'm offering an education product, right? So you want to also zone in, double click to who your customers are and not, so it becomes very difficult to attract customers if you're not specific about the type of customers you want. Right? It becomes difficult to attract the type of customers you want if you're not specific about who they are that you're looking for. So you need to be specific. I'm looking for this type of a client. It needs to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then you are able to identify it, and you're then able to know where to find them, and you're able to go. So a simple example would be, you walk out of your house after this workshop and you go to town or you go wherever, you decide to brave the cold weather. And as you walk out, you get attacked by thugs. They steal your phone, they steal your bag, right? Then, you know, for what it's worth, maybe your bag is, or your phone is insured, you need a case number. Because I was gonna say you go to report the case, hoping that the cops will catch the thugs, but we all know, you know, you're just gonna go there for stats. So you go to the cops because you need a case number so that you can claim from the insurance to replace your phone. What the cops will then ask you is, they'll give you a blank piece of paper and a pen, and they say, write what happened, right? So you're gonna write the statement, you're gonna write what happened, but part of you writing what happened is to identify the thugs or the people that stole your phone. One was tall, one was short, the other one was wearing this, the other one was dark-skinned, light-skinned, the other one had a scar, blah, 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 blah. Now, the clearer you are about identifying the thugs, the easier it is for the cops to maybe identify them on the identity kit or something. But the fuzzy you are about identifying the thugs, the more difficult it is for the cops to trace and catch the thugs. So it's the same principle that applies in your customers. The clearer you are about the type of customer that you're looking for, the easier it is for you to be able to know where to find them and to actually be able to convince them. So absolutely, it applies to business as well. It applies to B2B, to B2G, to government. The same principle applies. If you say, I'm dealing with the Department of Health, great, Department of Health. But who in the Department of Health are you dealing with? Because the Department of Health is broad, right? So you need to then know, I'm dealing with, in the Department of Health, my customer are the procurement guys or the guys who are working in this section or that section. You need to be as crystal clear about who your customers are. You can't just be high level. The more you're high level about your customers, the more difficult it is for you to identify them. And the more difficult it is for you to attract them. Are we good? Any other question before we move on? Maybe one last question.
We've got a question there from Matepo. Matepo, you can come in. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So my question is regarding, it's more like a personal business question. So as I said earlier in the during the workshop, that I have an organic skincare brand. So I'm still a small business. I do come from a village/township from Rustenburg in Phuket. So I just had an experience earlier this year where I was pitching for my business, right? So I've pitched for my business before with government, with private companies and whatnot. And I have succeeded. So I have won these pitches before. But then I pitched for this other Township Alliance, Entrepreneurs Alliance with Nedbank. And for the first time in my business, I didn't make it. So for someone who's like a perfectionist, I always aim high. I was very disappointed. I was hurt. I was like, this pitch has won me funding ever since I started. What happened now? So I went back home, guys, introspection, and I was like, okay, Matsepo, there was nothing wrong with your pitch. Maybe it was where you were pitching, where they were not looking for someone with a luxurious organic skincare brand. They were looking for township businesses. You've built your brand. It looks nice. It looks up to date, but maybe that's not what they wanted. So I just wanted to ask that, am I at the point in my business where I must be saying, yes, I know where I go pitch for money. I know the type of investors I want, and stop putting myself in each and every room where they say we're giving out funding, because sometimes it's not what they're looking for. But also I'm still going back to saying, I'm still a small business. I am from a township. So what's wrong with my business? So Santi, so my question was, so do I really have to look like I'm needy? I sell my stuff maybe at a corner, at a spaza shop. Like, how do I position that I do still need funding at the end of the day? Yeah, that's my question.
You have nice life problems. So, so I think the principle applies, right? It's a pity. I'm hoping next time one of the workshops will do pitch presentation. So in pitch presentations, one of the advices we give to entrepreneurs is you need to know who you are pitching to and understand those people who you are pitching to and understand what excites them and what turns them off, right? So that you are able to build your pitch around them. Again, it's the fit, right? It's the fit. It's your product, it's your pitch, and the investor. The two needs to fit. So let me give you an example of this guy, right, in this book. This guy is married to former Miss South Africa, what Strauss, I forgot her name.
Yes.
And in the book, he talks about winning Miss South Africa. And you know what he says? He says, at the time, the lady was his girlfriend, and she had these ambitions to win Miss South Africa. And then he says, okay, great. Let's have a 2-year plan. Let's reverse engineer. Firstly, who are the people who are likely to be in the judging panel, right? What type of people sit in the judging panel of Miss South Africa? And then they identified these are the type of people, their personalities, celebrities, type of people. Okay, great. What questions do these people ask the pageants, for instance? So these are the typical questions that they ask the pageants. What are they looking for when they ask these pageants? They're looking for someone who's smart, someone who's articulate, someone who's having a good, worthy cause that they're doing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now with that understanding, let's reverse engineer. In order for you, then they ask, are you articulate? At the time, Ms. Strauss was an Afrikaner from the Free State, so her English was not so, let me put it that way. And then they just said, no. We're going to have to get you an English tutor just to, get your English to be Woolworths. So they got her a tutor, and then they said, judges are looking for worthy causes and what. Let's register your foundation. This is 2 years prior. So they say, we are giving ourselves 2 years. They said, let's register you a foundation. What are you passionate about? Kids, education, registering a foundation. Now you start going out there, you start doing the work. Because in 2 years' time, you need to have that profile that the judges are looking for, right? So they start preparing her based on what the judges are looking for. Not on what they think they want. I need to be beautiful. That's important. but they were more scientific in saying, what do these judges look, who are they, and what questions do they ask, and what type of a candidate are they looking for? And they started preparing for that 2 years prior. By the time she got to the finals, the other contestants stood no chance. They started working on her social media posts and blog posts, and they were already crafting the profile that the are looking for in 2 years' time. So there's nothing wrong with your pitch. There's nothing wrong with, based on what you're saying, there's nothing wrong with your pitch. It might be that you're talking to the wrong people. You're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
Right. So you then need to be asking yourself, looking at where your business is, the stage of where your business is, who can take your business to the next level? Yes, you want money, but you want the money that will elevate you to the next level. And sometimes you want to be in the rooms that will elevate the business. It might be that you don't secure the money, but it might be that you're able to get the right contacts, you're able to get the right mentors, you're able to get to markets and. So you need to sort of have a sense of who is the right funder for you now. And so again, reverse engineering. Understand the people, work backwards to your page.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Right, let's go on. I'll take the other questions towards the end, if that's okay. I've noticed some of the questions on the chat as well, so I'll also go through that before we close. Now, second thing, building systems and processes. Colleagues, you're gonna have to, you can't grow in fact, let me say, your business will not grow if you don't have systems and processes. It will grow up to a point and it will plateau. It will hit a ceiling, right? So this is what happens in practice, right? So this is what happens in practice, and I'll use an example. Prajo works for BMW. He works for BMW. He fixes cars. He decides, let's use Jane. Jane works at a salon. She's been working at that salon for years, and she feels, I'm not going to grow here. I've hit a ceiling. There's no growth, and therefore I'm going to leave. I'm going to open my salon, and I'm going to do hair. So Jane leaves. She has saved some money. She has bought some equipment that, she was saving up for. She's got a space. Jane decides, I'm opening my own salon. I've got the equipment. I've got the skill anyway. I've been doing hair for a very long time. So I've got the equipment. I've got the skill. And he talks to some of the customers that she was doing the hair for when she was at the salon. And he says, guys, if you come to my salon, I'll charge you half the price or 20% discount. Besides, I'm the one, I know your head, I'm the one who was doing your hair. So please come to me, right? I'm no longer working there. So she sets up shop, opens a salon, she starts doing the hair. Now, 5 people come to Jane. Jane does hair perfect, and people, look good. Word gets around in the community that, hey, there's this new salon, Jane is perfect. You want to get your hair done, go to Jane, right? Now, 10 people come, they go to Jane's salon, right? And now she's sitting with 10 people in the salon, right? She needs to start moving faster now because she wants to do all 10 of them, right? Let's say she does well, right? She does well, everybody's happy. Then word gets around in the community. Hey, there's Jane, the salon there, that woman is miracles. When she touches your head, right, those hands are anointed, as my Bazolani friends will say. They're anointed hands. 20 people come. Suddenly Jane is like sitting with a problem, right? 20 people come, she starts, working faster, putting overtime. She works on weekends, on Sundays, on holidays, she's working because she's sitting with a huge backlog, right? So the business grows, it steadily grows, it grows. It hits a plateau because it becomes humanly impossible for Jane to do 20 customers in one day. Then there's a problem. She starts cutting corners, because she's in a rush, she's tired, she's always tired. She doesn't get to see her family. She leaves very early in the morning. The kids are sleeping. She comes back very late at night. The kids are sleeping. The husband is complaining, there's no quality time in the relationship because you are always working, right? So physically, the business starts taking its toll on Jane because she's overworked, because she's got a backlog, right? The business was growing, but now, because there's only one of Jane, there's only 124 hours, there's a limited energy levels. After 11 hours of doing hair, you are tired, right? You're no longer productive, your concentration span goes down. Now, Jane is frustrated. She's frustrated, she's always working. Even though she's always working, she feels like she's not moving forward. People around her start to complain, they don't see her anymore, right? She starts to stress easy, she gets upset very easy, right? Because she's chasing this backlog that is humanly impossible to achieve because she wants to make money. Now, why is Jane not employing someone to help? Well, because Jane feels her hands are the only ones that are anointed. She's the only person who can do the best job. I think they say if you want the job done best, you must do it yourself. So she's applying the principle. I need to do this. 1. 2, if I employ someone, they're going to steal my clients. Oh, again, now I know I stole someone else's clients. So if I bring someone here, they're going to steal my clients. I am not employing anyone. Or if I employ someone, they're going to steal my money, or they're going to steal my products, or they're not going to be as good as me, blah, 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 blah. I don't trust people. People are a pandemic, right? So she's going to do the work herself. Then what happens? The business hits a plateau. It won't grow beyond Jane. When Jane is sick, she has to close the business because there's no one else who can do the hair except her. When when she goes on holiday, she closes the business because there's no one else who can do the business except her, right? Because she doesn't trust anyone, right? Then the business hits a plateau and it moves like this. Now, if you want to grow your business, not to hit a plateau, but to go beyond, when you reach 10 clients, 15 clients, you need to have systems because you are now going to have to employ people, and those people are going to have to do what you are doing. That way, you're able to do hair for 20 people, the 2 of you, the 3 of you are able to do hair for 30 people, the 5 of you are able to do hair for 100 people, and therefore that business grows. Now, the challenge is making that decision because your business is like your baby. It's like I'm trusting this brand with other people. I'm not so sure if other people are working for me will be as good as me. And therefore, I don't bring other people. And I love what Mateba was saying earlier on. She says, you work with us, you sit with me for a month. You are with me. I show you how to do these things. What she's in essence doing is she's transferring systems and processes from herself to her team members. That way, her team members will be able to go run and do the things that Mateba was doing before the business was big, right? And therefore, that way, the business is able to grow. Now, you can decide that you want to run your business from a lack of trust of people, faith that people will steal, a lack of faith that people will steal from you, and that way you choke your business, or you build systems and processes that I'm going to employ people, and people being people, they're going to steal from you, but you have systems that will pick up when people steal from you, and you'll be able to deal with it, right? So you can't help it. People are people. It's like the whole story of the snake and the frog, right? The frog wants to cross the river. He asks, the snake comes and says, no, hop on my back. I'll take you across the river. The frog says, no, Mr. Snake, you're going to chow me. Mr. Snake says, no. Trust me, I'm helping you. I can see you're in distress. I'm going to take you across the river. Okay, the frog jumps on the back of the snake. They move across the river. As they're about to get on the other side, the snake bites the frog. And as the frog is choking and dying, it says, but you promised you're not going to eat me. And the snake says, I can't help it. It's in my nature. People can't help themselves. It's in their nature. They're going to put their hands in the cookie jar. No problem. We've got systems and processes that will pick it up and will deal with it. So there is that emotional tension between growing your business, bringing people into your business, and trusting them that they won't steal from you, trusting them that you are not going to train them and they're going to leave you, trusting them that they will be as good as you, sometimes even far much better than you, right? And then growing the business. Are they going to steal from you? I'm sure that people are stealing from ShopRite. I'm sure that people are stealing from USafe. But the CEO of ShopRite is not saying, hey, you know, people from Phuket, USafe that. No, he's saying there are systems and processes that will take care of that. If they're stealing from, we need to be able to pick it up and we'll be able to deal with it, right? And that's what systems and processes are for. Now, I spoke earlier about working in versus working on the business. And this is what most startup entrepreneurs are. They are the business. They are working in the business. You and the business are one. You fall sick, nothing happens in the business. Basically, you do everything in the business. You are the marketing, sales, you are the tea lady, you are the cleaner, you are the accountant, you are the debt collector, you are everything, right, in the business. Why? Because you don't have the budget to employ other people. That's where most startups start, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with starting like that, right? But the challenge is because you're the business, when you die, the business dies with you, right? When you're away, the business closes because you're the only one who knows where everything is. You know where the PIN code is. You know how to find things. You're the only one, right? Now the goal is to move from working in the business to working on the business. And how do you do that? Systems and processes, right? And you need to be able to build systems and processes that will be able to run in your absence and achieve the same results in your absence as if you were there, right? And that's it. You move from in the business to working on the business, right? And how do you do that? Systems and processes. You need to be able to write down. Don't run your business from your head. It's very dangerous. You know everything that's going on in the business, but no one else knows. So if you're not there, we don't know what to do, right? So the goal is to move from running your business from your head to running your business with a manual, you know, a manual. This is the manual. This is the Bible for my business. You want to work here? Here's the Bible. You do things according to the Bible. It's written down in black and white. I can assure you, Bazalwan, if it was not because of the Bible, most people wouldn't know Jesus Christ. For instance, what has sustained the gospel is the Bible. It's a system. So you want to have a Bible for your business. This is how my business operates. Sales, this is how we order stock. This is how we process stock. This is how we employ people. This is how we market this business. This is how we buy. You need to have it written down, not here. It's going to be very difficult to run a business of 50 clients all by yourself, running it from your head, right? You need to write it down. Now, some people say, yeah, but I write it down and people steal from me. People are going to steal from you anyway. Even if you don't write it, they're going to steal from you, right? What's important is you need to look at, is the pain of the fear far bigger than the joy of the success? I like to believe that the joy of the success is far much bigger than the pain of fearing that people will steal your idea. So write down step by step, black and white on paper. This is how we market our business. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. This is how we do sales. This is how we answer the phone. This is how we greet our customers when we answer the phone. This is how we close the deal once we are done with the customer, right? Thank you so much. We appreciate your deal and we are looking forward. It needs to be scripted. This is how we do things. Not you answer the phone today because you are feeling excited. Tomorrow you're feeling down. You answer it differently. No. You need to have those systems written down step by step. And then you employ people, right? So you build systems and then employ people. So what is a business? A business that's scaling, that's growing. It's 3 things: assets, equipment that you have, systems and processes, and a competent team. Unfortunately, most township businesses, most businesses have got assets, they've got a team, they don't have systems and processes. And when the systems and processes are in the owner's head, when the owner dies, nobody knows what's happening. And as a result, the business dies because the systems are in the head of the owner. When the casket goes down 6 feet under, the systems also goes down 6 feet under. So you want to be able to say, if something happens to me, I am leaving behind the blueprint on how to run this business. Here's a blueprint. We want to franchise this business, no problem. Here's a blueprint, right? We want to open another branch somewhere else, no problem. Here's the blueprint, right? So you start with the assets, systems, and processes and a team, right? You work on this branch, you're in Pretoria, in Centurion, there's a branch there, you perfect your systems, you get the culture with your team, right? You are Jesus Christ, you're working on water, you're performing miracles, right? And then you want to open another branch, no problem. We copy and paste the blueprint, we go to another area. Probably the first business has saved enough money to open the next business. We buy the equipment. You know what? In this business, the first business, I have a super employee. You know what? I'm going to promote him. I'm going to say to him, you're no longer responsible for this division. You are now going to be responsible for this branch. You are the branch manager, right? So we've got the equipment, we've got the systems and processes, and I've got a competent team leader. We then go open another branch in Johannesburg using the same blueprint, right? We open another branch in Kimberley using the same blueprint. We open another branch in Durban using the same blueprint. It's written down, right? Now, that's what you want your business to get at. You want your business to have growth and scale, because that way you're able to reach more customers, you're able to make more money, right? This is what's critical. The output that each of these businesses is bringing, it's as if you were there, and it's consistent. You know, it's like if I'm in Durban, I buy Streetwise 2 in Durban. It's the same Streetwise 2 that I'm going to find in Joburg. It's the same Streetwise 2 that I'm going to find in Messina. But these three branches don't know each other. How is it possible that they're able to do the same thing, package it the same way, sell it at the same price, but they don't know each other? How is that possible? Systems and processes. Because they are singing from the same hymn. They are running their business from the same manual. So it's critical, colleagues, that you move from working in the business to working on the business. And that's what a business is, right? It's an asset of value. It's this thing that as you are building now, it's going to look after you when you get to pension, when you retire, when you are sick, when you're incapacitated. This thing needs to be able to run and generate revenue and look after you and give you dividends or give you salary when you are unable to work there full time. You can employ a CEO, the CEO can run with this business, and you can then do other things, right? So this is what an asset of value is. You don't want to run this business, working in the business, thinking that you are an entrepreneur. You get to retirement age, you want to retire. You realize, I can't retire because if I retire, this thing is not going to work without me, right? Therefore, you have to go back to work in your old age, right? Because you need the money, because without the money, you can't meet your financial obligation. You don't want to realize that mistake very late in life. You want to build your business now so that in 5, 10, 15 years, this business can take care of you. You can appoint a CEO, you can become the non-executive chairperson, you go there once in a while, you set the targets for them, they report to you every month, and you go and you check in Dubai or wherever you want to check in, right? This is what an asset of value is. This is what entrepreneurship is about. Yes, you can still continue to work, but you're not continuing to work out of force. You're continuing to work out of choice. I love this thing. I'm passionate about this thing. I get bored when I'm staying at home, so I'm going to go to the office because I enjoy this. That's the decision you want to make, not because if I'm not there, nothing happens. Then you are not building a scaling business. You are basically self-employed. You're a glorified entrepreneur, you're a glorified manager, right? So you want to be able to build an asset of value. And that's what makes an asset of value: assets, systems and processes, and a competent team. You can sell this to someone else and step away, and they'll buy it, and it will continue to run in your absence. You can appoint a chairperson, you can appoint a CEO, and then you step back, you retire, the CEO runs this thing. You can give it to the next generation in your family, they're able to run it in your absence. That's the type of a business that you are looking for. Right. So what are those systems and processes? 6 things: marketing, sales, operations, procurement, people, finances. This is the engine. You need to write down, colleagues, step by step. How do you market your business? What needs to happen? Sales. When the order comes in, what needs to happen? Step by step. Operations. The order is here. We have confirmed the order. How do we produce, or how do we fulfill the order? Step by step. We need to buy stock. We have run out of stock. How do we order stock? Needs to be written down step by step. We need to employ people, guys. We are growing. We need more people. We need more hands. How do we employ people? Right? Not this thing of people when I ask them, how did you get this person? No, you see, we had this vibes, you know what, 2000, we have this vibes. When I spoke to her, I could feel, before I employed her. What? You employed a person based on vibes? Or some people said, no, my uncle's child finished at university, so my uncle says, you know, the child is done, can they come and work in my business? Or we are in an interview and this person says, can we please start with a prayer before we start? And I just knew that this one is the one, and I employed her, right? Wrong move, guys. There's more to just vibes or let's open with prayer. There's more. You need to have things that you look for in your people. Don't employ people based on vibes, right? And then finances, again, budgets, tools written down, not in your head, here on paper. So all 6 of these things are supposed, you need to have a file with what needs to happen where and by what time, by which date of the month needs to happen, right? It needs to be written down. So I'm not going to go through each one of them one at a time, but these are the 6 things that you need to be able to do, all of it, right? And then they're the engine. Once they're written down, you then want to make them frictionless. So you want to look at where the gaps are, where the bottlenecks are, and you start fixing those gaps, right? Again, here. So people say, yeah, but I told them. No, I employed this person, but I told them it's common sense. I mean, you know, there is no common, you're not leaving anything to chance. You need to write it down and you need to train them. Sit down with them, as Mateba says, sit down with them, train them. You are in essence taking this and you're handing it over to them, but you're not just giving them a book to say, go grow and multiply. You're not doing that. You are saying, here is what we do. Here, come sit next to me. Let me show you. 1, 2, 3, 4. You show them. And Mateba says, they stay with me for a month. Great. But after a month, they will know what they need to do. Not, it's common sense, go and do it. No, you sit down and you show them, right? From the blueprint, not from here, from the blueprint, right? And you'll find that that gives you more time. So the systems, how do you write them? It needs to be easy to follow, right? Write them down step by step. Need to be in a sequence. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, right? They need to come up with, if you do these steps, you need to come up with an output. Streetwise 2, this is how it looks like, right? At the end of these processes. And you can use these things, these steps, processes, as job descriptions. You copy and paste them, you change them nicely. I am looking for someone who can do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Boom, easy, right? You can use this as training material. Now they are here. Now let me show you. The same steps are training material. You have an induction in your work. Entrepreneurs don't have induction. They just bring someone, you said you know how to cook pap, here's the pot, here's the water, go, right? There is no training. Let's show you how we do porridge here. Let's show you how we cook this. There is no training. And that's why you find that there's a whole lot of frustrations and a whole lot of CCMA because the employees are not trained on how we do things around here. And of course, it informs performance package. So if you follow these things and you sell 200 Streetwise 2 in a day, you get a bonus. Simple, right? But you only get a bonus if you're following the manual, right? So we are able to set the target for them. And what that does is you are then able to, once you have written these things and you have tested them and they're frictionless and you are happy with them, You then employ people. You then start saying, now people can come and work. When people join you, they find this already there, right? People follow systems. In other words, systems comes first, and then you employ people based on your people's systems. You need to have interview questions. You need to have, when we conduct interviews, there's 3 of us, because I know myself, if someone says, let's pray, that's it, I'm sold. But someone else may not necessarily be as gullible as me, right? So if we do interviews, there has to be 3 of us, right? These are the questions that we ask. This is the type of references that we need, right? This, guys, is not money. It's not, ask your cousins or whoever who's in HR to come and sit with you, or your friends to come and sit with you and conduct interviews. We don't appoint people on vibes. We don't appoint people on, I felt you, I liked you, No, right? You need to interview them. Build systems before you hire people. When people come, they need to find the systems ready and waiting. They come and they press play. So they come and press play in marketing, press play in sales, press play in operations, press play in procurement, finance, and HR. And the whole machine runs. And as the whole machine runs, you are able to step back, right? You're able to step back. You're able to get your life back. You are able to do other things while this machine is running in your absence, right? Build the machine and then hire the people. The last bullet, I love the last bullet point. Build systems first before people is important, because people come and go while systems remain in place. Now, people say, no, but I train these people and they leave. I train these people and they leave. Yes, because you don't have systems. You train their heads, and when they leave with their heads. It's going to be painful. But if you train them and they improve the system, when they leave, thank you, the system remains behind, and it's an improved system. So they can come and go, and as they come and go, slowly your system improves, right? And that's what's critical, right? That you are able to build a system that improves every time people come and go, right? Because they can't take the system away. They can take their heads away, great, but they leave the system behind, right? And that then helps you to have your time back. And I'm using the analogy of a ship. You are a captain of a ship. You're a captain of your business. Now, as the captain of your business, where do you run this ship? Do you run the ship from the engine room, or do you run the ship from the bridge? Now, if you run the ship from the engine room as the captain of the ship, you will not be able to direct where the ship should go, because in the engine room, you can't see the horizon. There are no windows in the engine room. You are fighting fires here. Hey, this person, the cash flow, you shot out 50 rand. What happened? Let's recalculate. Hey, the sales are not enough. Let's do this. Here you are fighting fires. It's the engine room, right? At the beginning, you can do that. But as the business grows, you build systems, and then you let go. You get people, you employ people, they find systems in place, they run the engine room. You then go and you spend your time in the bridge. You're then able to say, where is the ship going to? We turn left. Oh, there's an iceberg approaching, guys. Let's turn left, right? You are then, as the captain of a ship, you are then able to direct where the